Hey guys, it's Kid Purchase Love United. What's going on? So listen, Love and Basketball jacked us up.
She knows exactly what she wants, and she knows exactly what she deserves, and it makes them boys nervous.
Alright, so we're gonna get right into it. So I don't know if you guys know, if you have Netflix, then you might know this, that Love and Basketball, they just posted it on Netflix. It's like one of their new movies. You can watch it, whatever. So, of course, well, not of course, but growing up, my mom really loved Love and Basketball. It was one of her favorite movies. We would watch it all the time. So I'm very familiar with that movie. When I saw that it was on there last night, some nostalgia hit me. I had watched Martin Lawrence Run and Tell That stand up. So I was like, you know what? Let me just throw on Love and Basketball for some nostalgia sake and just watch it. So I turned it on. Now, Love and Basketball came out in the year 2000. So before I say everything that I'm going to say, I understand that the social conscience was in a different place back then. I understand that, you know, we've evolved. I understand. But if Love and Basketball, you know, had the same effect or had the same like prominence in other people's lives that it had in mine, as far as, like I said, my mom watched it all the time. So I watched it all the time and just kind of maybe subconsciously taking on some of those traits or that thought process. Yeah, we got to call that foolery out. So here it is. As a 30-year-old woman watching Love and Basketball back, I'm like, this movie is extremely bad and extremely toxic, and what the hell is going on? So let's start with Monica. Monica is the character that Sanaa Lathan plays. From the beginning, we see she has low self-esteem. She finds her worth in others and her worth primarily in basketball. And I mean, that's kind of a thing that as women throughout the centuries we've dealt with, right? Like, we've had to learn how to be able to figure out who we are for ourselves and not in conjunction to someone else. Like, there's this part where Quincy, which is Omar Epps' character, her boyfriend, says, she was talking about, well, they were in college and they were talking about how she wanted to be the first female in the NBA. And he said, everybody know you're gonna get more play being Quincy McCall's girl anyway. And it just made me think, like, why does she always have to be attached to someone else? Even like, again, just attached to basketball. And another thing I didn't like about her character is we never see Monica with a man, except for Quincy. Except the one time when her sister put her on with the college dude. And that really wasn't her doing. Again, that was kind of like a blind date situation. So I don't even really count that. We never see Monica with a dude, even the whole time. So like, if you ain't seen Love and Basketball, I don't know what to tell you. The movie been out for darn near 20 years at this point. So be mad. I'm telling spoilers, whatever. You know, after she graduates college and she goes play basketball in Spain, and she just looks so sad and depressed the whole time. And I mean, like, I've been in love, so I understand, like, you know, being in love and just wanting somebody, but like, we never see her at least attempt to move on in her life in that area of her life. And it's just kind of like, but why though? Especially when we see Quincy, on the other hand. Let's start talking about his character, because his character, hotghettomess.com. But I ain't gonna get all the way there. Let me finish Monica. Then we have Monica's mother, who we see as this. She's like an old school mama from the perspective of, like, everything that Monica has to offer, it seems, she references she's smart, but I really have an issue with the fact that we never see anyone reference Monica's beauty, except if she's made up in a traditionally feminine way. And what I mean by that is, like, as a little girl, you know, she's a tomboy. She likes playing basketball. She likes getting dirty. You know, she don't mind all of that stuff. And her sister Lena is not that way. Her sister Lena is more of, when you think of feminine traits, like her sister Lena kind of falls more into that category. And you could tell that her and her mom were closer than Monica and her mother are. Monica's closer to her dad, again, probably because of the sports aspect. The only time we ever hear her mother acknowledge her as beautiful is when she's made up to go to this dance. And it's like, your daughter doesn't stop being beautiful, or your daughter isn't not beautiful when she doesn't have on a dress. She's beautiful when her hair is all over her head. She's beautiful when, you know, maybe she has a scar on her face. She's beautiful in all these other ways. And I think it's really harmful to attach the word beautiful to only the most extreme cases of femininity, like i.e. having on the dress, having your hair a certain way, making sure your makeup is popping. Because guess what? All I got on right now is brows and some mascara, and the kid is cute. Okay? Kid's beautiful. Okay? So I think it's important to make sure that we tell our little girls that, like, you don't have to look a certain way or be presented in such a way to only be considered beautiful. That there are other, beauty is, you know, there are several facets of beauty, and it's important to acknowledge her beauty in all those facets, not just when she's super made up. And again, I understand that her parents don't come maybe from a time where that thought process is a thing, but as, like I said, as a 30-year-old in 2019 watching it, I'm like, what? And then her daddy is just like the typical, well, as far as like in that time, typical, like, I bring home the bacon so you do everything else. Very dismissive of his wife's emotions. And to be fair, like, they projected as her mother doesn't speak up for herself. There's actually a moment where Monica has a moment with her mother, and she's telling her, like, you never stood up for yourself, and that's my beef with you. Which, to a certain extent, I can definitely agree. But at the same time, I feel like as a husband, it was her father's responsibility to also be mindful and to recognize when, like, to respect what it is that she does as a homemaker. Like, there's a scene where Alina is doing Monica's hair. They're little girls. I think it's like her first day of school, the day before her first day of school. And her husband the mama's like, you know, I'm real tired, been running around, I'm tired, I'm gonna have to go crazy, I need to go lay down. And her husband like, what shirt should I wear? And she like the blue stripe, and he like, iron both. Now, in that moment, she mentions that she's tired before he walks in the room, so he doesn't know that. But my thought process is, like, as her husband, y'all just moved, you see that things are still in boxes. If y'all hear that bumping, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what that is. But anyway, of course, because I'm trying to record. You know the type of wife that you have. You know that she runs a very tight ship just based on the way this character has been portrayed. We know that 9 times out of 10, this house is not going to stay in boxes forever. Who do you think is unpacking those boxes? So you trying to tell me that you, one, can't iron your own shirt, and not only that, you're going to ask her to iron both shirts after having the day that she's had. It's just like he's emotionally unaware, and it's just... he's selfish. And I didn't I just don't like how normalized that aspect of masculinity is. I don't like that. Speaking of emotionally jacked up men in this movie, let me talk about Quincy real fast. You know, it ain't gonna be real fast. Let me talk about the extremely toxic character of Quincy. So from the beginning, we see Quincy has an anger issue. Quincy, and this is what I mean, from the very first time, just from the beginning, we see Quincy is disrespectful. Quincy does not have boundaries, and Quincy has no problem becoming physically abusive if he doesn't get his way. And I know I might be using some words that people are like, you're being a lot. No, listen to what I'm saying. The very first time we see Quincy, he's playing basketball with his friends, and we see Monica come and whatever. He's about to lose to Monica, and he pushes her. And that's how that's how they say that Sanaa Lathan gets a scar on her face. Off top, no one finds this weird that this boy pushed this little girl because he was not about to get his way. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I understand that men do not always learn how to properly display their emotions. So a lot of times it comes out in a negative way or in an anger way if they don't know how to properly articulate them. I am fully aware of that, and I understand that. And we'll get to his daddy in a second. But there's also a part, because that's the beginning that we see with Quincy, but we watch throughout the entire movie how this ninja is just completely off his rocker emotionally, and no one holds him accountable in that sense. Everything happens to Quincy, and he takes no accountability for why he is where he is, to a certain extent. And I'll get there. So yeah, we first see him, he knocked the girl over and she got a scar on her face. And they reference that later in the movie where like, when she was like, I'm emotional, I'm not the one who put the scar on my face when he was a kid because he was about to lose. So we acknowledge that he's abusive. We've, not abusive, maybe I'm not using the right word, abusive. But we've acknowledged that he got no problem knocking whoever over to get to what he's trying to get to. We'll say that, women included. But anyway, so off top, I'm kind of like, Now we see their relationship grow as they get older, and then high school, he's clearly Mr. Popular. His father's a basketball player, he's a dope basketball player, so clearly, you know, he's out here. Now, even if you notice a subtle, like, the way that the female basketball players are treated versus the male basketball players. How like it's not as much hoopla. Even from high school to college to even when they play, when she plays overseas, there's just not as much hoopla put into the female basketball as it is the males, which patriarchy. But anyway, so my issue, I have several issues with Quincy's character. One is his father. And a lot of this stems from him, as far as like his father not teaching him, because you could tell he hung on his father's every word. And maybe his father didn't understand this. And again, I get it. It's a snowball effect. I get it. But he never taught him how to truly respect women. He taught him that as long as you are a provider, quote unquote, then that's okay. But it seems like the providing that he's only equipped to handle is monetary providing. He doesn't know how to emotionally provide. He doesn't know how to physically provide, because I mean, it seemed like his wife was always like, I just need some time with you. He didn't know how to be there wholly as a husband. He only knew how to just get money and throw it at the situation, which in turn, I feel like also negatively affected Quincy, because we see Quincy, he's basically this spoiled kid who and like I said, don't get me wrong, he was a talented basketball player in high school, but we just see like this spoiled kid, and the whole time, like I said, as a 30-year-old, I'm like, this ain't realistic. Water. So we watch him in high school. And we see Gabrielle Union's character, Shawnee Easton, and she fast. Side note, did y'all notice that every girl in this movie that's fast is dark skin, except for Sidra? Every dark skinned girl though, or every girl that we saw that was fast when it came to Quincy was like brown skin. But all the like girls that we should hold to a certain regard were lighter than the girls who weren't. For example, Sanaa Lathan, I won't call her light skin, but she's lighter than Shar Jackson. She's lighter than Gabrielle Union. Even his wife, he was gonna marry Tyra Banks. I peeped it, just saying. But anyway, the issue really starts to come in when they're in college, and you know, Quincy finds out all this stuff about his dad. Basically, his father lied to him. Now, this obviously becomes the beginning parts of the contention between Monica and Quincy, that she couldn't be there for him in the way that he felt she needed to be. But the problem is, and this is my issue, because there's a part where he says something like, he talks about how like she couldn't stay with him because, you know, I had the curfew, and if I had stayed with you, I wouldn't be starting. And he was like, I'm glad you got your priorities straight. And she said, I've never asked you to choose. He said, you don't have to. Skirt on 24th. I literally paused the movie like, hold on, bro. Hold on, player. Flag on the play. Hold on. That's not even the right sport. Hold on. Anyway, doesn't matter. My issue is, first of all, let's check your male privilege, and let's check your economic status privilege. I guess I don't know what privilege that is, but basically, first of all, you're a male, so naturally, and wait, not only you're a male, but your entire life you've watched your father play sports over your mother. So in your head, this is why you feel like this is a thing. Matter of fact, we saw this in the beginning when he asked, as a little boy, he like, you need to ride my bike because my daddy drive my mama. And she's like, no, I don't have to. And he pushed her down, he called her a dog, all this stuff. It's like instantly you turn into this abuser in the making, almost. That's really how I feel. Like, I don't like using that word, but that's really how I feel. And I don't like how normalized it is. Like, oh, well, I'm not getting my way. F you then. I don't like that. Then I I almost skipped over this part. One of the most famous scenes in the movie where she loses her virginity. Now, this whole time, clearly he's pressed about her being on this date with this college boy. Clearly he's pressed. But the whole time he tried to act like everything was good, everything was Gucci, everything was cool. And then he took Shani home because, you know, he wasn't on it like that. And we know why, but it's like, why? Again, his father has not equipped him to properly handle emotional situations, because how hard would it have been? She's your next door neighbor. You've known her at least 4 or 5 years at this point. How hard would it have been for you to be like, yo, like, I'm feeling you, let's get it popping? And then she gives it up to him, gives it up that night of the dance. But up until this point, as far as we know, Quincy has done nothing to earn this moment from her. Realistically, like, when Quincy's parents are, mind you, like, during the day at school, they probably don't really interact. They probably very rarely interact. The only time we've seen him do something for her is give her a ride home from the game. But when his parents are fighting and arguing, she opens her window and lets him spend the night in his room, her room. In her room. And it's just like, up until this moment, nothing has happened to make me feel like this warrants this. And I'm just like, we gotta start. Listen, if there are any girls, younger women, whoever watching this video, please understand that it should take more than just him being nice to you a couple times. And don't get me wrong, not downplaying her feelings for him, because we know she loved him. That's so cute. But there has to be more than love to get in these draws. It just gotta be. What else do you bring to the table besides love? Because love is fleeting. You can always have love for someone, but your feelings about people go like this all day, every day, period. Including love. Like, the levels of love. I think you can always love someone, but that doesn't mean that you can always love them at the level like they deserve to get this popping. That's just not, I just don't agree with that. So yeah, I was just kind of like, what is going on? Like, Monica gives a lot in this situation. We don't see her get a lot back. So, like I said, later in the movie, we see Quincy get into it with his daddy. Quincy mad at her. So instead of having an actual conversation and saying, you know, I really need you in this moment, or even more, how about having enough emotional maturity to say, you know what, yeah, let's just go back to your house, but real talk, I don't want to talk to nobody. Or, you know, I respect what you say and I get that. Let me just, you know, he said, go ahead, I need to be by myself. But the reality, we knew he was going to be on some trash after that. Then we see him start messing with these girls. Then we see him drinking more and just all of these things. And and Monica is trying to be there for him the best way that she knows how. But then somehow she allows him to manipulate this into it being her fault. And her not having time for him and all of this extra, and then he breaks up with her after he done already basically been on some trash with another girl. Do not let a man, when he's in the wrong, do not let a man try to flip it on you and make you feel like it's your fault. No, your father is the one that cheated on your mama. That's foul. That's messed up. I can be here for you in the best way that I can, but I think it's unrealistic, especially for two people in college. I think it's extremely unrealistic for him to have a feeling like she should have been able to drop everything for him, especially when, if we're keeping it a buck, one, I don't think he would have done the same for her, and I definitely think she would have been understanding of that. But not only that, let's just say he did drop everything for her. He's in a position, based on who he is, that he could have done that with very little consequence, probably. It's, again, him not being aware or being conscious of who he is and what status he holds. It's just annoying. So yeah, I'm just looking at this movie like, I can't believe I like this. I felt the same way when I watched it don't matter. Anyway. So like I said, with Monica's character, we see time pass. She plays ball. Now we know Quincy dropped out of school. So Quincy is playing for the Lakers. He's a bum now, basically. And, you know, I mean, at this point, we see him kind of just whatever. Like, he's being a bum and he hurts himself. And that's what brings her back home. The fact, it is still him. which is annoying because it's like, again, we never see her even attempt something with somebody else. It's like she just harbors these feelings for all this time until he's finally ready. And I just hate the idea of like, I hate the idea of women constantly having to wait around until he gets himself together and then, oh, now we can be together. You can go out here, you can be with whoever you want, you can spread your seed as far as you want. Now in this movie, he doesn't have any outside children, but in real life, we know that's usually how that goes. So he can be out here, he can bop and thigh and all that stuff, have 3-4 different baby mamas, knowing that you the one, knowing that you the good girl, knowing that you the one who gonna hold him down, knowing that you the one who is going to be an amazing mother, an amazing wife, someone who gonna pray for him, who'll pray with him, someone who can be his confidant, who can be his best friend. He can know all these things about you, know you the one he wants to spend the rest of his life with, and still be out here bopping the thigh and expect you to wait until he ready. Ciao, bye. Bye. No. And that's basically what this movie gave. Like, because at the end, yeah, we see him with her after he can't play no more. So it's like, what does he even do? And it's like, it just felt like, I don't know. After I watched it as an adult, I was just like, child, I could never. And you know what? I'm not gonna say I could never, because I have done that. I have been the girl where, you know, I've allowed people who are emotionally unavailable, like I've tried to be everything for them, and then they basically snatch my heart out, and then I'm like, I didn't understand, because I shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. I've been in different situations that maybe not exactly the same, but are similar to the characters in this movie, and I'm just like, maybe if we had, and I'm not blaming this movie for that, let's be clear, I'm not blaming the movie, but maybe if we had more examples of stronger female characters who don't mind walking away when what's at the table no longer serves them. As much as you love somebody, just because you love someone does not mean, unless you are married to them, and unless you're married to someone, you are not required to have to push and work through anything with anybody, especially when they have not shown that they deserve that from you. Now, I'm not saying to not have empathy for people. I'm not saying to not care for people. I'm not saying to not forgive people, but you can do all of those things and not be with somebody, period. And this movie just made me like, because like I said, I mean, even at the end, it felt like she had put so much work into trying to put them together. Even when he sees her again, we know he's getting married to Tyra Banks. She's a stewardess. We know he's getting married to her. And it took, her mama was basically like, you know, I feel like he's supposed to be with you. And it's like, okay, that's cute or whatever, but what has he done? She has always made the first move in their relationship. The whole reason he even got some when she lost her virginity, or what we think is her losing her virginity, is because she kissed him first. You know what I'm saying? Like, she always initiates. Except, I mean, when they was little, but they were children. But yeah, like, anytime it's like about them being together, she's always the one trying to reach out. She's always the one trying to connect. And even when they were playing basketball, and he like, and when he took the last shot, he like knocked her in the face, the same place where he made the scar. I get it. It's like, it's a movie thing. I get it. You're supposed to connect the dots. I get it. I understand. But it's still just like, so you really about to knock her head off? And he like, everything fair and love in basketball, right? No, you almost knocked her head off. What? And then we see at the end, you know, she had a baby. They cute. They so married. Her last name's hyphenated now. But what does he do? What does he bring to the table? We see what she does. We see why he needs to try to be with her, but why does she need to be with him? Love is not enough. So that's all I got. I was just like, y'all let me know what y'all think. Am I reaching with this? Am I tripping? Am I crazy? Do y'all see what I'm saying? Let me know what y'all think. But make sure, if you like this video, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Please make sure you also hit the notification bell so you know every time the kid posts something new. Make sure you also share this video and just let some people know what you know. Just let them know about the kid. And like I always say, as long as you're running your race at God's pace, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Bye.
Know that girl can make everything you got a little better. She can change your